Look, YouTube, how are you doing? Welcome back to a new video with me, Rams fan YT. Well, we are back with the National League playoff predictions this season. Yes, it's been an interesting season for all the teams in the National League North and National League South, how they have competed, and 6 teams will be up for a chance to get promoted to either national football or for English Football League football, a chance to enter the EFL Cup, the EFL Trophy. So I'm going to do a bit of a deep dive into all of the teams. I've done a lot of research going into this, but as ever with predictions, things can happen which you will just truly not expect. We'll start off in Cheshire with Macclesfield versus Chester, 2 Phoenix clubs and local rivals. What a nicely set up playoff quarterfinals this is. If we include predecessor clubs, then the head-to-head marginally favours the Silkmen in this. Macclesfield has the better goal scoring this season, whereas Chester has the better defence. In terms of form, Chester is the second most informed side in the whole league, though. If you're a regular to this channel, you would know I tend to favour form, no more so. I think that is of paramount importance than in the playoffs. Sean Rooney and they will probably go down as a club icon for this season's playoff antics. But have they run out of steam at the wrong time? They seem to have a couple of defeats in them of late. Let's go through their 2 teams. We're going to start off with Macclesfield, who probably will have Max Durnley in net, who's experienced this level with Chorley and Buxton. And at 6'5" is a towering keeper who was the best player with Macclesfield last season. I have Louis Lacey at left back, although is versatile. He experienced the National League North with Curzon Ashton last season, and in 2023-24 he was in the Cymru North team of the season. Many Essay is a left-sided centre-back with him having over 100 appearances in the EFL. His knowledge of the game will be vital for this occasion. Having made 126 appearances for the Silkmen, I obviously have Mr. Dependable Sam Heathcote in a centre-back duo. And rounding up the defence is right-back Lewis Fensum, who, with 185 appearances for Macclesfield, adds to that leadership. James Edmondson starts for midfield 3, who is on loan from Blackburn this season. Captain is obviously Paul Dawson, with a defensive midfielder expected to dictate play with his experience in big games. It could be a real difference maker. I'm sure we all do remember his goal against Palace earlier on this season. Duffy finishes our midfield, although could easily slot in further up the pitch. His experience promotion with Warrington Town could prove useful. Oldham Loney Josh Kay starts for me as he was involved in Barrow's promotion to the EFL, and his experience of big games will be very important in this one. Elliott is a must in this game with experience of promotion to the National League with Scunthorpe and promotion to the Football League with Hartlepool. In 2021-22, he was the player of the season when Boston United reached the National League North playoff final, and he's also scored 15 goals this season for Macclesfield, so all round a no-brainer. And finally, Buckley Ricketts, for his pace and techie nature. You can tell me what, well, you can't really tell me. You can tell why he was an England youth team international. Next, we are going with a Chester lineup, and that's got Bobby Jones will start in net for me. The Boston Loney is very experienced at National League North level, and in 2023-24, he won the NPL playoffs with Marine. Nathan Woodthorpe is a mainstay in the Chester lineup, and you don't tinker with a successful team. Weeks is everything you want from a club captain. He's a former youth international, regularly in conversations for the team in the season, and player of the year's award, and has an impressive assist record as well. I suspect the vastly experienced Tom Davis will start, who has several seasons of EFL football on his CV, and has twice won promotion from League Two, once with Coventry City via the playoffs. Lewis Lee is bound to start, and considering he appeared in the 2023-24 League Two playoffs for Crawley Town, it tops up even more experience to the side. Motley Henry is an exciting winger who has finally found his feet at Chester. Fullback Michael Kelly is also a Boston loanee and experienced promotion last season with Scunthorpe from the National League North. Shrimpton is probably the player I'm most unsure of, with a toss-up between him and the more attacking outlet Tom Pears, who last season was the Seals' top scorer. I suspect Connor Woods will start, with Chester wanting to score more, and with his record of goals and part of Chester's playoff campaign last season, he is for me the natural choice over centre-back Carson. Scott Burgess may have had an injury-ridden season last season, but hasn't impressed in midfield this term, and with Football League experience and ironically enough promotion experience from the National League with their opposition at Macclesfield. Phil Crocker may start, albeit he is a very young, inexperienced player, so the option of either Carson for experience or a forward player like Finn Roberts may also be considered. So this game, a lot of big names going into this, a lot of experience, a lot of investment has gone into both these clubs recently. I have swayed towards Chester in this one to run out 2-0 winners. They definitely have that form going into it, and I think will be right up for it up against the local rivals as well. The other quarterfinals of the National League North is Buxton versus Scarborough Athletic. Buxton managed to get themselves hosting rights, which I think makes all the difference in this tie. It is typically whoever is at home ends up winning this game throughout their heads-to-heads over the years. And Buxton are the highest goal scorers of the non-seeded playoff teams, scoring 81 goals, where Scarborough have the best defence of the non-seeded playoff teams, having only conceded 52 goals. So I suspect the hosts will dominate possession. The question will be, can they get past that tough back line employed by Jonathan Greening's men? So let's start with Buxton's lineup. They'll have Joe Young in goal, who averages a clean sheet in just over one in every 4 games, and the Bucks will be hoping this is one of them. Will Truman is a John McGrath lover, having followed him from Mickle over to Buxton. I strongly suspect he starts. Will Flint is capable of playing either centre-back, holding midfield, or at right-back. And with National League experience from the first half of this season and prior experience in the National League North, I'm sure he can slot into this side. George Ward was Leamington's player of the season last season and has been dependable at the back this season. Kieran Burton comes in with something to prove and started the season well. The Bucks will be hoping he can rekindle that form now. Johnny Johnston seems to be hitting good goal-scoring form at the right time, and a cheeky goal or two would certainly buoy the home fans. Connor Kirby, the captain, and for me, Buxton's best player, having made over 200 appearances for the Bucks, he is bound to lead by example. Kean Coleman performed well while on loan from Leeds United last season and is now a permanent Bucks player. Luke Brennan seemed like a gamble when he came in at 23 years old with not many minutes, but he has really cemented himself with the fans this season. Max Bardell, I remember when he was at Derby's academy, and who has struggled with injuries most of his career. But with them behind him, he can put a name firmly out there with a solid display in the playoffs. And finally, is Connor Douglas is the next player from the Leeds academy. They've got a great relationship with that academy, it seems. For Scarborough, I've got Ryan Whitley in goal, who's kept 12 clean sheets for the Sea Dogs this season, and having been with the club for 3 years, is a stable pair of hands at the back. Waleji has been with the club for 5 seasons, a real team player. Alex Brown was part of a Chester squad which reached the playoffs in 2022-23, and since then has been a regular left-back for Scarborough. Jake Hull is a 24-year-old who will be hoping to make a name for himself facing his former club in this tie. Will Thornton is the club captain and has made well over 200 appearances for the Sea Dogs and will be a stalwart at the back. Alex Perver is a very experienced player at National League North level, with spells at Darlington and Guiseley also in the same division. Rio Allen is a direct attacking player who likes to score goals, create chances, and is a great player to have in a one-on-one situation. Alex Wiles is coming into this playoffs in great form, pulling the strings in midfield. Stephen Walker played international football in England's youth setup and has been prolific in front of goal this season, scoring 17 goals this season. Harry Green is a versatile player, but I suspect, like he has most of the season, he will be the left winger. And Luca Colville will probably be on the other wing and has done some great cutting inside this season. How I think this game will pan out, I think the nature of Buxton's pitch probably plays towards the host's favour. They've got to do less travelling. They will hope to be going one step further than they did last season. And I have got a bit of Derbyshire bias in me as well. I have gone 2-0 to the Bucks here. I just think overall they have managed to do very good, get a good bunch of results recently, and a really great bunch of lads as well. So that lines up the first of our playoffs as South Shields versus Buxton, which would be annoying because I'm already ahead going to a different game at that point. So if South Shields just play against someone else, I'd be a bit more happy. But for a Buxton fan, I also would want to be going them to go and win it ultimately. So it's a tough one. Anyway, I reckon a right end-to-end game in this one, with South Shields having a bit of a wobble over the last couple of weeks, I think it's fair to say. Buxton may edge out in the advantage for that, but the quality of South Shields, I think, will ultimately shine through in front of a buoyant home crowd. South Shields has almost scored 100 league goals this season and is the best defence in the league. I think you would ultimately be a fool to back against the Mariners. But let's have a look at the two teams. Well, at the South Shields team. We just looked at the Buxton team, so there's no need to look at it again. You've got Sheik, who has been a real surprise package this season, keeping 16 clean sheets despite being only 21. Oliver Bainbridge is an exciting, tricky wingback who is local to the club and plays his heart out in his exciting, youthful way. I really enjoyed watching him play when I went to the First Cloud Arena. Ethan Mann is a 6'1" centre-back who at 21 is young like most of his side, but experienced for playoffs in the National League North last season, with who I suspect will be their opposition in Buxton. Tinkler is the captain, approaching his peak at 28. There was experience in big games, having earned promotion to the National League and winning the FA Trophy during his spell with Gateshead. Dodds has just over 50 appearances in the National League with Hartlepool. Will Jenkins has an eye for goal from midfield and is from South Shields' own academy. Alcock will be the technician in midfield involved in all the build-up. Sean McGurk is a goal-scoring winger. Jack Rolls is an attacking midfielder who is a former Cypriot youth international, and he was part of a Crawley Town side in 2023-24, which won the League Two playoffs, where he scored a goal in the semi-final victory over MK Dons. Finch, since joining in January for me, has been one of their best players. He may well be replaced, though, by one of the two Derby County Academy loanees in Lennon Wilden and Niall McAndrew. When I went to that game, Niall McAndrew, in his first touch in senior football, tried to do an overhead kick into the goal. Talk about a bit of overconfidence. But Lennon Wilden also scored in that game. So Paul Blackett is the Golden Boot winner of the National League North, scoring 29 goals. There are no superlatives that can describe how good this player is. I suspect this one might actually be more even than South Shields are wanting, and I think it might be a 2-2 draw, but I suspect either in extra time or on penalties, South Shields get through this one. In the other semi-finals, we therefore got Kidderminster Harriers versus Chester. It's a bit of a here we go again for Kidderminster, who will be hoping second time's the charm at Agborough against the same team who would appear to be their bogey team. I think this could be a bad omen for the Harriers. Adam Murray focuses a lot more on margins and possession play as a manager, and this will invariably a low-scoring game with both sides favouring defence over attack. Both sides come into the playoffs with wonderful form, but I suspect may lightning strike twice in favour of Chester? We'll have to see. Let's look at the Kidderminster lineup for this potential game. 2024-25 was a season of broken records for goalkeeper Dibble, who made 145 appearances for Kidderminster Harriers and kept a record of 23 clean sheets last season. So they'll certainly be hoping he can pull out another clean sheet in this one. Owen Evans was involved in the Gloucester City National League North playoff campaign in 2022-23, earning him a move to the National League with AFC Fylde. Farke is a versatile defender who is strong and robust. 6'5" Emeka Obi has been promoted from the National League North before with AFC Fylde. Josh Robinson will try and apply Arsenal Academy football in non-league, a tricky task to do. Reece Devine is a left-back who has over 50 appearances with the club. David Davis brings a bag full of experience to the midfield, who breaks down play well and gets involved in the nitty-gritty. He's made 7 Premier League and 210 Championship appearances with Birmingham City and Wolves combined, as part of the Wolves squad, which won League One in 2013-14. Middlesbrough loanee Braden Johnson was part of Adam Murray's side with Eastbourne Borough last season, who followed the gaffer to the Midlands. George Walker is a versatile player capable of slotting anywhere in defence or midfield. I would say Boston loanee Donnelly is the most prolific in front of goal, so I would want him to actually prove a point in this one. And Reynolds is energetic and has returned for a second loan spell at Agbra. But whereas he was considered midfielder for this season, they've transitioned him now to striker, which I would say has bore a bit mixed results. As you can see, Harriers haven't necessarily had the most prolific form in front of goal this season up against a Chester side. I think this is going to be a bit of a cagey one, to be honest. I'm looking at the goal scoring record, only 74 goals scored for Kidderminster Harriers and 61 scored for Scarborough Athletic. I've gone with a 1-1 draw and I've gone Chester to win either in extra time or on penalties. But as I said, a bit of a low scoring game in this one. So that will line up the final of South Shields being host to Chester. I mean, the hosts are coming off a wobble, which saw them miss out the title, whereas Chester are on a great run to reach the playoffs in the first place, where they were mid-table most of the season, weren't they? However, South Shields' youth and ability to regularly score 3 or 4 goals in a game may see Chester placed under an insane amount of pressure. South Shields in some way is unfortunate not to have won the title, and I think surely a dominant display, but the hosts with the Mariners running out as the title, with the hosts of the Mariners running out as the winner of this playoffs, and therefore promotion to the 2026-27 National League. I've gone with a 4-0 win, by the way, for South Shields in this one. Proper free-flowing football, maybe a Blackett hat-trick. International League South. First one is Hemel Hempstead Town versus Weston-super-Mare. Two sides with a very similar and also decent, who are quite similar in a lot of ways, but also a decent run of form as well. They're equally matched with defence, and Weston-super-Mare very marginally come out in top in attack. Of late, the Tudors are the ones doing more of the scoring, and at home, that could see them have a huge advantage. Both managers come in having no real experience in the playoffs, although Allison has more experience overall as a manager. So I'm going to start with Hemel Hempstead's team, and Michael Johnson is a goalkeeper who commands his area confidently in all aspects of goalkeeping with vast levels of National League South experience. Devontae Stanley is a right-back who has experienced several National League South playoffs with St Albans City. Louis Lomas doesn't seem to be able to stay with a club long, coming from Farnborough to the Tudors only 3 months ago. Ajayi is a solid centre-back and captain who has spent over 5 years with the club. Dorich is a player who does both the defensive work but also swings in some great crosses. Rowan has been either a centre-back or a defensive midfielder who brings a wealth of National League South experience, having won the playoffs with Oxford City in 2022-23. George Williams is experienced in the EFL and also historically a Welsh international, making 7 appearances for his country. Joe White has played as a typical number 9, a central midfielder, or as an attacking midfielder. He is clinical from the spot, and if his tie goes to penalties, was a prolific goal scorer in the league below with Hendon. You've got to back him if he has to score a penalty. Noel Williams is a Granada international who's fast and can operate on the wings or as an attacking midfielder. You may remember him when he was instrumental in the goal which saw Kettering Town take Doncaster Rovers to extra time a couple of seasons back now. Phil Hesse is a Sao Tome and Principe international who is capable of playing anywhere midfield or out wide and helped Hornchurch achieve promotion to the National League South in 2023-24. Romeo Campbell is a bit of a hit-and-miss scorer, so the Tudors will be hoping he is on an on-day. For Weston-super-Mare, you got Max Harris, who seems to be best whenever he dons on the gloves for Weston-super-Mare, as he was National League South Player of the Month in September. Scott Bennett has tons of EFL experience with Exeter, Newport and Cheltenham. Don Bernard was a key part of Forest Green Rovers squad, which reached League One and made over 150 appearances for the club. Britton is a prolific goal scorer, scoring a goal almost one every other game. JJ Kane is a Weston-super-Mare legend, making 416 appearances for the Somerset club. Will Dawes is capable of playing anywhere on the right-hand side of the pitch. Emlyn Lewis is a centre-back and club captain who has Europa League experience. Leo Peckover is a youngster making a name for himself in football, and that's what a way to do it if he managed to perform well in the playoffs here. Coulson is a goal-scoring winger. Who can forget last season where he scored 22 goals for Weston-super-Mare. Spokes has a wealth of experience in the National League North and South. And Callum Wood is a left-footed defender, a rarity in football. In this one, I've got to go with a bit of a host team advantage. I just, for some reason, see Hemel Hempstead running out as 3-0 winners in this one. Probably the most dominant of all the playoff games, which we're going to be predicting in today's video. So I've got them going through to the semi-finals. Who would be the other team to go through to the semi-finals? Will it be Dorking Wanderers or Maidenhead United? Two sides had expectations to probably make an immediate return to the National League this season, and one of them will walk away disappointed after this game. Dorking are on a horrific run of form with no win in 5 games, but are still far more prolific in front of goal than Maidenhead are. Mark White is a passionate manager and owner. I'm sure he will lay into his players if things go against them. Alan Devonshire doesn't appear to be a manager of a club anymore. Long of an end of an era, really, isn't it? The interim Ryan Peters has transformed this side with a great run seeing them enter the playoffs on the final day. They have the best defence in the league, though, so it will be tough for Dorking to break them down. Let's start with the Dorking Wanderers team with Harrison Fulks in goal. And he's a Derby Academy graduate and was Dorking's player of the season last season. In 129 games for Dorking, he has kept 34 clean sheets. Not a bad record at all. Norville Williams is one of the best defenders in the National League South, and in 2023-24, he was Farnborough's player of the season in a campaign they finished 1 point off the playoffs. George Francombe will presumably be slotting in at centre-back, demonstrating his versatility, with a player having about 300 EFL appearances, including promotion to League One with AFC Wimbledon. Dorking will be hoping he can step in for the retired Tony Craig. Brennan Camp is a threat aerially from set pieces who is growing an accomplished player. Sam Pearson is a winger who is well known for his goal-scoring acumen and is a former Welsh youth team international. Left-footed Harry Pinchard is the engine in Dorking's midfield and has real technical quality. George Knight is a defensive midfielder who has spent the last 5 seasons with Bracknell Town. Charlie Carter is an attacking midfielder who makes runs into the box and has composure to finish the chances he creates. Hence why he regularly hits double figures in terms of goal output. Kai Enslin is highly rated, and you can see why, with the winger being both pacey and skillful, and is on a phenomenal run of high performances. Pryor is probably within the top 5 players to have ever worn the Dorking kit, having made over 200 appearances over 2 spells with the club, and scoring over 100 goals. He has helped them to promotion from the Isthmian League and National League South in the past, and may be relied on doing so again in this game. McCallum is a proven goal scorer at the National League level, having won that league's Golden Boot in 2023-24 with Eastleigh. He's physical, able to drift across the field and play others into attacking positions. For Maidenhead, we've got Stappershoff. I don't know how you pronounce that. He's a composed goalkeeper who can cope with the highest stake games as displayed during his spell with Aldershot Town, where he kept a clean sheet in the 2023-24 FA Trophy final. Clarima has been with Maidenhead for the best part of a decade now, and he was with the club last time they were promoted to the National League South, ironically. De Havilland is almost a John Terry-esque centre-back who is steeped in National League experience, including spending the last 5 seasons with Maidenhead. Ryan Bartley is a Derby County Academy product who has some excellent moments at both ends of the pitch recently. Raguet is versatile, able to play as a left back, a left winger, or a central midfielder, and is a massive creative outlet. Dylan Da Silva is, interestingly, a Sri Lankan international, making 25 appearances for the Asian nation, alongside having plenty of National League experience. Matt Robinson may have been made a song used in FIFA before, but he has also helped Luton Town to promotion to League 2 and has 250 odd appearances to his name with Dagenham and Redbridge. Yearwood is a goal-scoring midfielder who last season with Gosport Borough scored 18 and assisted 11 goals. Ever wondered what happened to Jaden Mitchell-Lawson, who seemed destined to be the next big thing at Derby under Frank Lampard? Well, now the wing will probably feature in the National League South playoffs tonight, and experienced League 2 playoffs in the past while at Swindon Town as well. Popula is both young and versatile, with much experience in the National League North, including reaching the playoffs last season with Buxton. Omara has certainly had a great season in front of goal, hitting the back of the net 16 times this season, and has arguably been their player of the season. It's quite a tough game to call, as I've already mentioned. You know, both of these two teams have lofty expectations. I've gone marginally home form, maybe something for Dorking to be utilised upon, as they need to get a result from somewhere. They've not been great of late. I've just gone 1-0 to Dorking, but it could quite easily go the other way. It'll be low scoring either way, that I can guarantee. Hornchurch versus Hemel Hempstead Town. Regardless of whether Hornchurch win this game or not, this will have proven to be their most successful season of football ever. Hemel Hempstead equalled this campaign in 2017-18, where they lost on penalties at the first hurdle against Braintree Town. So if they got to this stage, that will also be their best season ever. Darryl McMahon comes in with National League South playoff victory in 2016-17, which he followed up with National League playoffs in 2017-18, although didn't win them, both with Epsom United. He has other experiences of League 2 and National League football, and so Hornchurch are certainly favourites at home with a great attacking threat, but Hemel Hempstead may find their defence is very resilient. So going through the Hornchurch team's got Nasta in goal. He was a bit of an unknown quantity at the start of the season, with his only spell in senior football being the Southern League Division 1 South with Larkhall, where he kept 16 clean sheets in 44 games in a campaign where they fell just short of the playoffs. Harry Gibbs can play centre-half or full-back and was captain of the Aveley side that surged to the National League South playoffs from the Isthmian League Division 1 North in only a handful of seasons. American Charles Phillips has had an odd career, which has seen him promoted from League 1 with Wickham, compete in the Irish League, and is now in the Tier 6 of the English football game. Frankie Edwards is on loan from Colchester's Academy, where he was captain of their under-21s. Sam Ling was reunited with McMahon in January, having played under him during a spell with Dagenham and Redbridge, where he made over 150 appearances for the Daggers. Rate is the captain, who has made over 200 appearances for the Urchins, with almost 100 goal contributions. Josh Rees is a former England youth team international who has reached the FA Trophy in 2017-18 with Bromley and has bagged some National League experience to his name. Miles Weston is probably the pick of the bunch, with the Antigua and Barbuda international having earned promotion to the EFL with Bromley, promotion to League One with Southend United, and reached the EFL Trophy final with Brentford. He is a big game player who follows Mac Mahon wherever he goes, it would appear. Balanta also has experienced promotions with League One promotion with Yeovil Town and also won the playoffs to the EFL with Bristol Rovers. More recently, he's been considered Dagenham Redbridge's most important player. Sandat is certainly one for the future and has shown glimpses of potential, but this is a huge occasion where margins are everything, with Mahon maybe preferring George Alexander, who last season scored 24 goals for an Eastbourne side but was full of confidence and reached the playoffs in the National League South. St. Lucian international Polian completes the lineup with his previous experience in National League South promotion with Ebbsfleet being their best player that season. It would be unwise to leave him out of the 11. So obviously a lot of experience in that Hornshirt side. I'm just thinking that maybe Hemel Hempstead, cheeky underdog win, a scrappy 1-0 win for the Tudors, might see them reaching the playoff final. What a mad result that would be. And the other one is Torquay United versus Dorking Wanderers. Torquay and Dorking have both experienced patchy runs of form this season, and we've already mentioned Dorking are a bit of a one at the moment. Jimmy Ball obviously experienced success in the playoffs last season, earning promotion from a league below with Toton. Mark White is obviously renowned for his stats of promotions, but how much will last season's playoff defeat still play on his mind? Torquay are the better in front of goal, and they're pretty equal in defence. Could really go either way, but this game definitely promises excitement. Let's go through the Torquay lineup. You've got Seb Stacey, who is a bit of a late addition brought in due to injury to Hamon. But the MK Dons loanee has been great, with the 19-year-old bringing his professional attitude he developed at Worthing with him. Tizard was initially brought in to strengthen depth in the squad, but has arguably improved the squad, with him being a Scottish Challenge Cup runner-up last season. The Sutton loanee may again be asked to step up to the plate. Jordan Dyer is a no-nonsense, tough defender who can slot into midfield. Dreyer is one of the most exciting young talents in non-league, despite being in his early 20s. He's already vice-captain and was the best centre-back in the National League South last season. Fulston has earned promotion twice in his career with Taunton Town and Yeovil Town. Despite being 25, he'll hope to make it a hat-trick. Jordan Young was highly rated when he arrived at Plainmoor, and you can see why. With 2 seasons with Torquay, he scored 27 and 78 despite being a winger. You can tell why he's considered the best winger in the National League South. Matt Worthington is a bit of a legend in the Southwest, having made 250 appearances with Yeovil, including helping them to the National League South promotion in 2023-24, where he was the best midfielder that season. Dan Hayfield is an influential presence in the midfield. Callum Dolan was viewed by many as the one to go on to great things after scoring 14 goals in 23 appearances in 2022-23 Northern Premier League Premier Division season from Warrington Islands, having only just gained promotion the previous season. Fleetwood clearly thought so, but like so many, wasn't given a proper chance and is thrown back now into non-league with Torquay. Northern Ireland Under-19 international Rhys Evans was the deadline signing on loan from Reading, with last season his highlight coming with a brace in Scottish Challenge Cup final, taking his side, Queen's Park, to the final. So yes, he was teammates with Tizard then. Dion Moore is a Guyana international who this season scored 12 goals with Mason before moving west to Plainmoor. In this game, I'm going to go a very even game. I've got a 2-2 draw, and I'm going to go Torquay to marginally run out in either extra time or penalties. They'll be hoping it's not a disappointing season or end to the season. Both of them will, to be honest. So it's Torquay United versus Hemel Hempstead Town. On the one hand, you have hosts of EFL experience in abundance, steeped in history, and a great fan base, topping the table of average of fan base just shy of 3,500 per week. Hemel Hempstead, on the other hand, are the second worst in terms of attendance, with less than 750 viewing home games. And despite an incredible season by the Tudors, it's the full-timers versus the part-timers. I know Hemel Hempstead actually make a profit, which is very rare in football, but we know Torquay have come and done against plucky underdogs in the past. May I dare mention last season's fault against Boreham Wood from a similar position they now find themselves in. I'm going for the upset because why not? 2-1 to Hemel Hempstead Town. Shaking up things in football massively would be the case if they did manage to pull off this upset. So on to the National League. Scunthorpe United versus Southend United is what's going to kick us off. The Battle of the S Uniteds. A point was all that separated these two sides in the final table. Southend dominate both the stats in front of goals scored and the less goals conceded, but Glanford Park may well prove to be a fortress for Scunthorpe. Based on last season's playoff campaign, you can accept Kevin Maher's side to pick up a plucky fight. The Shrumpers legend did do wonders last season, but I do suspect he may end up as just nearly manager, which is not shameful, but doesn't get Southend to a promised land that they believe they are entitled to. Andy Butler could mastermind a back-to-back playoff promotion genius, and I certainly think he will draw on last season's playoff success in the league below. So let's start with Scunthorpe's side. I doubt very much that the shot stopper Louis Jones thought he would be in the net for the playoffs when he was reunited with Andy Butler. But here, the injury-ridden goalkeeper is hoping to put all that behind him and establish himself as a top professional. Tyler Denton is a former England youth team international and is an incredibly versatile player capable of playing either left back, wing back, centre back, and a midfielder. And he likes to keep possession. He has played in playoffs a couple of times before, both times in the National League North, and there's no doubting he is a very good player. Brandon Horton has won the National League before at Chesterfield, and with both League 2 and National League experience, he surely starts. Experienced is Andy Boyce's middle name, as the club captain has achieved promotion with Scunthorpe twice before and has plenty of National League experience with Eastleigh, as well as reaching the National League playoffs with Spitfires in 2018-19. Bellewen is highly rated, so it will be seen whether he can apply it when it really matters. Joe Rowley is an electric midfielder, who I must say after 100 appearances with Chesterfield, where the club was severely regressed and when it moved to AFC Fylde with a bit of a yo-yo, I was sceptical about his ability, but I'm delighted to say he has proven me wrong this season. Zane Westbrook should be playing at a higher level, having achieved League 1 promotion with Coventry City and League 2 promotion with Doncaster Rovers only last season. I would say the midfielder is well capable of playing in the league above. I'm sure we are equally surprised that former Welsh youth team international Pat Jones is not in the Football League. Ollie Ewing will forever be etched into my memory for his spell at Buxton on loan from Leicester last season, where the versatile midfielder scored a thunderbolt of a strike against South Shields. Callum Roberts is a truly terrific winger, with the best wing in the National League North last season, as he scored 20 goals in 40 league games. Danny Whitehall also regularly reaches double figures in goal output, whichever league he finds himself in. For Southend United, you've got Andeng Didi. He's a fine shot stopper, frequently up there for the most clean sheets kept in the season. Last season's best right wing back in the National League and frequently the best player at Southend United. You cannot fault Scott Morris for much. Harry Taylor is also frequently up there as the best player at Southend United, with him either playing at centre-back or in defensive midfield. It's great to see James Golding back on the grass again with the Ireland Youth International recalled by Oxford earlier this season due to an injury sustained with Crewe. Gubbins is probably in the best form he has ever been in. Jack Bridge is a player who leads by example, who can either play at left wing back or as a central midfielder. Having made over 200 appearances with Southend and been twice in the National League playoffs, he'll be someone a lot of players will be looked at to help them out in this situation. Too many, Ollie Coker is still a fresh kid out of the academy, so it's hard to believe a 23-year-old has made over 100 appearances now for the Shrimpers. James Morton is rapidly cementing himself as a fan favourite, with a defensive midfielder improving every season and is now approaching his peak. Sam Austin 10 years ago took a step up to the National League North, joining Kidderminster Harriers, where he learnt the ability to score from midfield. This saw him snapped up by Notts County, and his experience of winning the National League playoffs in 2023 and League 2 playoffs campaign last season will be vital. Cardwell is a powerhouse of a centre-forward who is strong but skillful and with a turn of pace with excellent movement. In 2023-24 with Southend, he scored 18 goals. Anything like that, and Cardwell will be a handful. Dallas is having the form of his life, scoring 17 goals this season. It seems that he always excels at this level. In terms of this game, I'm going to edge out Scunthorpe. I think that slight bit more experience might see them through. I've gone 1-0 to Scunthorpe United. That recent playoffs will live in their memory and they'll know how to cope on this big occasion. Sorry about that, bless me. On to Boreham Wood versus Forest Green Rovers. Boreham Wood has probably surprised a lot of people in reaching the playoffs this season, but in the same way they've surprised the likes of Millwall and Ipswich in the past, so are used to going into big games as the underdogs. Despite Forest Green Rovers finishing 7th, they are favourites due to investment within the club. Recent history in League One and Robbie Savage's history of promotions from Macclesfield, but both are in equal form, with Boreham Wood being the second highest scorers in the league. Defensively, I don't think there's much in this game. Maybe the host's advantage could sway it. We'll see. We'll go through Boreham Wood's team to begin with Ted Curd, who is only 20 and has played recently for England's under-19s and is loaned from Chelsea. I would suggest certainly a bright future in the game. Ilasanmi is a name which most people will probably associate with Boreham Wood, having spent 2 seasons in League Two and made over 200 appearances for Wood. A year on from a medical emergency casting doubts on Bush's future, he is back, who holds experience of big games. In the FA Trophy final, he remained steady and lifted the trophy with Bromley in 2021-22. Charlie O'Connell is a versatile defender capable of playing anywhere across the back line or in central midfield. Cameron Cox surely would have thought his Boreham Wood career was over when loaned out to Salisbury last season for 3 months, but a former Welsh youth international came back and proved a lot of people wrong this season. Regan Booty can play either centre midfielder, defensive midfielder or centre-back, and has a proven record of turning up in big games, helping Manchester United with a National League South and lifted the FA Trophy with Gateshead in 2023-24. This undoubtedly is Marshall Miranda's biggest game of his career, and remains to be seen if he will rise to the occasion. Abdul Malik was highly ranked as a teenager, with a 23-year-old winger doing well this season. This is another player who has a lot to prove this game. Zach Brunt was a record signing for Wood and has proven himself justified, with 15 goals this season as an attacking midfielder. Lewis Richardson is a talented forward who became the youngest player to represent Burnley in the Premier League in the past, but internationally he has been also in England's youth team setup, and a sharp, intelligent forward with natural finishing ability and great technique. Matt Rush is a hard-working striker whose goal output for Boreham Wood is phenomenal, with 26 goals, seeing him joint second top scorer in the league. And for Forest Green Rovers, got goalkeeper Harry Eisted arrived at Forest Green Rovers this season, having spent the last 3 seasons in League One. Ashkar Ahmed is highly rated with the Readings Academy. It'll be interesting if the 18-year-old is given a chance in a very important game. The 6'6" Innis is a giant of a centre-back who is naturally a huge threat in both boxes. Carnu is another product of Readings Academy who has been loaned to Forest Green this season. Biarbi is predominantly Marauds down the left-hand side and who featured in Rochdale's National League playoff-ending campaign last season. Tate Campbell was part of Buxton's team last season but unexpectedly reached the National League North playoffs, and the experience that the 23-year-old had would be hoped to bring into this game. Laurent Mendy is a savage signing, having been with the gaffer at Macclesfield every season, and he seamlessly adapts to the increase in standard. He just seems to be, every level he goes up, he just seems to be able to perform. The Swiss Army knife Forest Green Rovers. That is how McAllister's versatility has been described, as he is able to play as a wing-back, a number 10, or a false 9. He also has a wicked left foot with an incredible pass. Dynamic and full of trickery on the ball, he dances down the touchline and goes past players. Nwoko is one of Fulham's Academy's best players who can slot in either as a 6 or an 8, or even as a deep lying 10. Tom Knowles is a goal-scoring midfielder who has made over 75 appearances in League Two with Walsall. Mellor is a player who has Europa League experience and is evidence of the savage pull factor, as he was with him at Macclesfield where he scored almost 30 goals for the Silkmen. I think this will be an even game. I've gone a 1-1 draw, but I've gone for Boreham Wood to win either in extra time or on penalties in this game. Rochdale versus Scunthorpe United will therefore be our first semi-finals, and many will probably say Rochdale will walk this game. However, with the title heartache of the last day, getting players up for a playoff campaign will be an almighty task that McNulty will need to do for this game. He has certainly shown his credentials as manager this season, and Rochdale dominate Scunthorpe in all measurable statistics, yet somehow this game traditionally ends a draw. Obviously, this cannot happen in this game, so will Rochdale be able to get up for this game, or will Scunthorpe inflict further misery on the Northwestern club? Let's go through Rochdale's team before I reveal my score. We've got Watmouth in goal, who's a commanding shot stopper on loan from Man City's academy, and also features regularly for England's under-18s. Callum Perry is definitely one for the future in Coventry's ranks, but Rochdale will look to utilise the left-sided defender for one last push this season. Ebanks Landell is the captain, and his expertise of promotion, having achieved League One promotion with Wolves and Sheffield United, as well as a centenary of League One appearances with Shrewsbury, the centre-half who has been with the club since 2022, making almost 150 league appearances, will be someone everyone's eyes are on. Kyron Gordon was Rochdale's best player last season, and he can play as either centre-back or right-back. Hanant is a wing-back with bags of EFL experience, including promotion to League One with Cambridge United, and last season was Gateshead's best player, with whom he won the FA Trophy. He's also two-footed, meaning he can play as an attacking midfielder, the central midfielder, or as a winger who is energetic and doesn't mind a tackle and is decent in the air. Dan Moss has accumulated over 150 appearances in the National League, predominantly as a right-back, but has also operated as a central midfielder at Scotland. Harvey Gilmore is a midfielder of big moments, helping Tranmere Rovers to win the League Two playoffs in 2019 and lift the FA Trophy with Halifax in 2023. Ryan East helped Swindon Town to reach the playoffs in League Two, but didn't feature them, and he'll be hoping for a different outcome on both fronts this time round. Adebayo Rowley is another wing-back in what appears to be a team of wing-backs who, approaching the peak of his career, can only claim a National League playoff victory with Notts County as his only real success. Dizaruwe is a composed, experienced talisman who has been with the leading goal scorer at Rochdale every season he has been at the club, and this season is no different, bagging 26 goals, which is a joint second in the league, including what appeared to be many as the match winner against York, but I won't remind you what happened afterwards. He also has accomplished promotion many a time, such as back-to-back with Salford City from the National League North to League Two, and helped Grimsby Town return to the Football League more recently in 2021-22. Devante Rodney can also be relied upon to chip in with goals. He has pace, energy, and a great work ethic rate, who can also hold the ball up and head well. He earned promotion to League Two with Salford City in 2019, and in 100 league games with Adale, he has scored 37 goals. I think Rochdale may enter this game a bit slowly and a bit trepidation to it, and I think it might end 1-1 after normal time, but I do think Rochdale edged it in extra time or on penalties. I mean, they left it very late in the last game, didn't they? Carlisle United will therefore, according to my predictions, be hosting Boreham Wood. I reckon a right crack of a game between the Cumbrian side, who, let us not forget, accumulated 95 points this season, which that does win titles in the past, and they have also scored 87 goals and have a decent defence. Boreham Wood, however, have a strong attack force and is the second best in the league, as I mentioned before. Carlisle also have Mark Hughes as a manager who has experienced great many highs in abundance across his 25 years of managerial experience. Gabriel Breeze will be the goalkeeper here and is the shining example of what the academy can produce. It was an amazing shot-stopping ability, proven by only 51 goals conceded this season. Ryan Galvin was part of the National League playoff campaign, with Halifax participated in last season. Morgan Feeney brings leadership, energy, and a strong ability to cope under mentally hard challenges, just the sort of person you want in the back line. Bevis Mugabe has done it all as a player, it would seem. He's played for his country, Uganda. He's played in League Two. He's played in the Scottish Premiership. He's played in Cyprus, the UEFA Conference League, and the Europa League, and now presumably the National League playoffs. Jack Ellis was born in Kendal and came through the Carlisle's academy, displaying leadership at a young age. Another example of why you don't need to throw money at things to be successful. Gilead is a versatile midfielder with a wealth of experience, having participated in the League One and League Two playoffs with Bradford City in 2 different spells. Realistically, he is an EFL standard player, and they are a bit lucky to have gotten him. Morecambe's financial distress at the start of the season saw Carlisle snap up Harvey McAdam to bolster their midfield. Edmund's career is a sad one to behold, but having been the player to symbolise the new Sunderland emerging from their slump, achieving League One playoffs victory back-to-back with Blackpool then Sunderland, he was in the England youth setup, but having an indifferent 2022-23 Championship campaign, that saw him loaned to Derby, where he made one appearance before getting an awful injury. Since then, the wheels have fallen off and he now finds himself in the National League, trying to pick up the pieces of what was once a promising career. Stephen Wynne falls into the category of too good for the National League, but not quite good enough for League Two. So if Carlisle do get promoted, questions will be asked over Wynne's future, but the goal-scoring midfielder should do a job in the playoffs. Ajiboye is an exciting winger and occasionally striker who about 5 years ago was the best winger in the National League when he helped Sutton United earn promotion for EFL for the first time. The following season, he helped the Yellows to reach the EFL Trophy final. Although unsuccessful that time, his displays earned him a move to Peterborough, where he did live for trophy. But he fell out of favour and is now obviously back to square one, it would seem, for a player who should really be reaching their peak. Luke Armstrong is the son of Alan Armstrong, the manager who consistently hops around the North East, it would appear. Luke is a prolific goalscorer who burst onto the scene in 2016-17, scoring 23 in 42 games with the Northern Premier League outfit Blythe Spartans, helping the team earn promotion. 2018-19 saw him score 10 goals in 18 appearances on loan with Gateshead. 2020-21 also saw him up there in the goal-scoring charts, recording 15 goals in 32 games, helping Hartlepool win the National League playoffs. What follows was a century of League Two appearances with Harrogate Town. Having since moved to Carlisle, he is in decent form yet again, scoring 11 goals this season. Overall, I think this is going to be, as I said, a right crack of a goal. Goals, and more goals. I've gone 3-3 in normal time, and then Carlisle to win in extra time or on penalties to set up the playoff final between Rochdale and Carlisle United. Not really any points for originality in this one, but I think it will obviously be the second versus third meeting each other at Wembley. Hard to judge which team would benefit from it more being played at the home of the England national team. Rochdale has only once been for Wembley for a playoff game where they were unsuccessful against Stockport County. Carlisle, meanwhile, has been to Wembley 4 times if you count the old Wembley, with 2 under the Arch and 2 by the Twin Towers. However, their Wembley trips has always been in cup competitions, not in the playoffs. I have edged out the team that has been so dominant all season and do deserve to be promoted. I suspect Carlisle could be in contention for promotion again next season, though, but I've gone 1-0 to Rochdale. I will actually, seeming I probably won't have time today to make a score predictions video, go through my midweek predictions of action and do a weekend one, probably either Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, tonight we've got Southampton versus Ipswich Town. I'm going to go for interest's sake. I want Middlesbrough basically to have still something to play on their final game of the season against Wrexham to see if they could potentially get second place. So in this one, I've gone with a 1-1 draw, and I think that suits Derby fans quite well. Northampton Town versus Barnsley. I've gone with, it's a bit of a nothing game, 2-1 to Barnsley. Peterborough, you need to win this game, or need to get something from this game up against Mansfield Town in order to ensure survival. I have gone with a Mansfield victory just to make it interesting and take it for last day. 3-0 to Mansfield Town. Stockport County need to win something or get a point at least up against out of form AFC Wimbledon side to ensure playoffs for this season. I think they do it 3-0. In the Champions League tomorrow, Atletico Madrid versus Arsenal. Will Arsenal bottle the Champions League? They might well do. I've gone 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. They're certainly proving a lot of people wrong this season, aren't they, Atletico? In the Europa League, I've gone 1-1 between the all-English affair between Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa. And Shakhtar Donetsk versus Crystal Palace, I've gone with a 0-0 draw in the Conference League semi-final. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you are new around here, please do click that subscribe button. I think we have 1 or 2 subscribers away from the 260 mark, which would be great. We should keep on pushing on as a fan base. Let me know who you think are how the playoffs are going to play out across non-league in the comment section down below. Until next time, I'll see you later.